What up, what up, what up, what up? What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Jason here, Not to Fitness 81. I got my brother here, and we got something special for y'all. So, kind of in a nutshell, this video is going to be based on now me being 3 days out of the South Bay Championships. So, making a nutshell, we're going to kind of go over some topics here. My brother here, Curtis, is going to do an interview with me, and pretty much he's got some series of questions he's going to kind of go over. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get the show started.
Let's do it. So Jay, where's the show going to take place this Saturday?
The show's going to be in the city of Irvine. The address is going to be 4242 Campus Drive. I believe it's on the Irvine University campus, if I'm not mistaken.
Irvine University campus.
It's the name of the
City of Irvine?
Yeah, City of Irvine. The name of the building is the Barclay Theater. That's the name of it. Doors open at 9 o'clock. Show starts at 10, and that will be where prejudging takes place.
Nice. And how long has it been taking you to prepare for this competition that you're getting ready to get into?
I'll be honest with you, brother. I mean, it's been 10 weeks that I got to prep. It's kind of ironically funny, you know, to be honest with you, thinking about this and going into the competition and all. As you know, I was in Hawaii for about 2.5 months doing a remodel, and
was that a tough one on you there?
Shit, dude, you know how that was for the 2.5 months. I call you pretty much every other day towards I think in the 5th week. It was really rough physically. The reason I say it was rough physically was right before. Matter of fact, the day after Christmas, you and I both caught COVID.
Yeah, COVID's no joke, man.
And on top of that, so it took you down, but it took me down, I think, a little further, because I think you healed back up in 2 weeks. It took
about 2 weeks.
It took me about a fucking month. So, and not only did it affect me this time physically, as you know, I was locked in the room 24/7, hardly came out, hardly ate. It's I completely diminished. So if COVID for the second time affected not just you mentally, it affected me mentally as well. So, my mind state at that time really was completely different, as you know, when I flew out and, went to do this thing. It was about 3 weeks doing the job. All I did was just do the work. I walked around Hawaii maybe twice, other than going across the street back and forth to it's like a 7-Eleven, but it's called the ABC store. They have, excuse me, they have them all around Hawaii, or Honolulu, actually. Apologize. But in a nutshell, it was just, that was it. So when I finally decided to go back to the gym, it was the UFC gym, and I did that for about a month. And then when we got into the second phase, because we were on a high-rise condo, right?
Yeah.
So we were on the 28th floor. And that's rough when you gotta lug all the materials and shit, because you gotta go down from the basement and you gotta haul all this stuff.
And you said it was
28 stories. So you gotta haul it from the elevator, and you gotta use the service elevator. You can only use it at certain times. You can only work at certain times. So, when I was, in UFC gym, as I was telling you, when you called me this stuff, it was really rough, getting into it. Completely depleted, no muscle tone. It's I pretty much practically started if I never touched weights, and this ain't my fucking first rodeo going through that. So preparing for this competition, for the last 10 weeks after all that.
And prior to that, you were already in effect of preparing for the comp before Hawaii, or was that during the Hawaii thing?
I was. Well, it's interesting you say that, because what kind of sparked it was after we got to the second phase, and I kind of jumped ahead, but you know me.
Jumped the guns, huh?
Yeah. Come on, dude. There ain't nothing new with us. It's an Aries thing, people. Issues.
It's like that.
Be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But No, so we got into the second phase, right? So we went from doing the first remodel because it was two condos made into one,
Yeah.
and then we had to pretty much close them off and redo it all from scratch. Well, not scratch, but just like completely redo it and add a room and stuff. So second phase comes into play, and so the workload kind of changed a little bit. So by that time, my old coach from 2018, Mike Bower, shout out to him, by the way. If you have Instagram, guys, you can follow him on IG. It's little Mike B underscore, or sorry, little Mike underscore B. Anyway, he hit me up and told me that an OG cat, that I guess has been in the game. He's an old school bodybuilder, right? He has a gym out there called Flex Fitness. So crazy enough, even though I would go to the gym at UFC, obviously it's not the same. The equipment was like Crunch. So anyways, familiar with Crunch equipment. I'm not a fan. I don't know if you are, but I'm definitely not a fan.
Yeah, I was there for a little bit, you know that, and I'm not really into the machines that are off to me. So.
Pretty much, just to me, it looks like, state of the art, pretty bullshit. It sucks balls.
Yeah.
I don't care who I offend. Anyway, I'll call the kettle hot if it is, But anyway, so he tells me about Flex Fitness. I took a look on the GPS, and it wasn't too far. Sometimes I would either ride the scooter, take the bus, and sometimes even walk. It really wasn't that far, much further than the UFC gym. So
they're both around the same area.
Here's the ironically funny part. While I was looking for gyms out in Hawaii, you would never believe where this gym was located, the Flex Fitness. So there's a Costco and a Home Depot, which obviously we have to go to Home Depot almost every freaking day for materials, because it's not like, where you can go buy in bulk and leave it outside. It's a high rise. You can't do that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like little pieces at a time. So it was the old Dole Cannery. The actual Dole Cannery, where pineapples were actually back in the 50s and 60s, where they used to actually do the pineapples out there.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a big ass building, right? But they turned into like little mini store, kind of like I don't want to use the word swap meet because that's not exactly what it is, but it's like little shops, business centers, and what have you. So to find out that it was there all this whole freaking time, it was like, no fucking way. So it was the weirdest thing, because like as soon as the doors open, I got there, it was almost sudden like a trigger just snapped.
Something clicked, huh?
Just that old like the normal everyday old Jason feeling. So to go through that process and just be like feeling like shit, not really knowing what direction I was gonna go into, because as you know, I was at a stage of depression at that time, and it ain't my first rodeo either, going back and forth, with that bullshit, but we'll get into that later. It just clicked, and at that time, then I found a supplement store not too far from where the condo was, and right then and there is like boom. So like everything kind of happened in unison, and it was actually a store that I'm familiar with. It's Hawaiian Discount Nutrition, but they had another name for it, but it's like a series of them. Like there was like all these discount nutritions, right? And they're all kind of intertwined together, owned by one guy, through California, Las Vegas, Hawaii, apparently. So being out there and finding that, like it's just like almost like there was a sign. And then I happened to see the Sean Ray Classic. That's the show is going out for November, so the wheels started turning.
Got it.
So from that stage, working out at Flex Fitness, and then kind of bouncing back to Iron Hawaiian Fitness, another kick-ass old school gym, no bullshit, no BS, just kind of like where it's just
and
like...
we really like the old school gyms, by the way, so...
Yeah, so to be in those environments, it rebirthed the idea of wanting to take it to another level and come back better. So of course, when I came back home, I think it was like about 3 weeks later, and my colleague Rob Simpson, which also you can follow him on IG. He's IFBB Pro Rob Simpson. on Instagram. He owns a shit. I just lost my train of thought. He owns a Iron House training facility in the city of Pondo, which happened where I also train clients at as
And
well.
that's a personal training.
Yeah, it's not a gym. It's a
one-on-one.
It's private facility.
Okay.
So, and we before all this, before I even left Hawaii, we would go out there, and do it to it. So when I got home, next thing you know, it was like 3 weeks later, and Rob just kind of put it in my ear, like, "Hey, dude, when are you gonna compete?" Because I was telling him a little about the show that was, I was invited to, and mind you, this is probably about, I want to say, 12 and a half weeks out when we were talking, and he pretty much just put it in perspective. He's like, "Jason, you've been doing this shit for 20 years. You have an undying passion when it comes to bodybuilding and working out and fitness. Like it's naturally who you are. And to go, he's like, when are you gonna actually get up on that fucking stage and compete?" So
Started thinking about it, didn't you?
well, worst thing was he also did it in front of my client Mike, which he worked out with him once or twice. My client Mike Mackay. So it was like, and I think at the time, a dear friend of mine, Michelle, was the first person I told. You were the second person I told. Hey, guess what? Looks like I'm training for a competition. And kind of from there, like I told people privately, but I really kept it under wraps. And